Hey guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. Now, in today's video, guys, I'm going to be doing a full review on the new Ghostbusters Frozen Empire movie. Now, if you can't already tell, I am quite sick, which is why I haven't already gotten this video out. I'm feeling a lot better today, but yesterday I was feeling like absolute crap, so... and if you are watching this video, I will have already had my favorite movies of all time video out, so make sure you go check that out if you haven't yet, and all of the other reviews that I'm currently working on getting caught up on. And make sure you stay tuned next month, April. If you thought March was stacked with movies, April's going to be just as much, if not even more movies, so make sure you stay tuned for all of the reviews coming up that month. And I think that's pretty much it. So, getting on to this review, I would like to make this a little bit of a quicker one because I obviously am I'm about a week late to this. However, I feel like there's still quite a bit of hype over this new Ghostbusters movie. Still a ton of people going to see this in theaters. And I've always been a big fan of the original Ghostbusters as well as the sequel. I know a lot of people heavily criticize Ghostbusters 2, but I like it just as much as the original because it has the original cast and kind of the similar atmosphere and vibe as the first Ghostbusters has. And I wasn't too big on Ghostbusters Afterlife, but I do think it was a nice return to the franchise. Ghostbusters 2016 wasn't really the sequel we were looking forward to after Harold Ramis's death, and Ghostbusters Afterlife, I think, was finally that long-awaited sequel that sort of paid things off. However, like I said, wasn't too big on that. But Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, I really, really dug, and I think it was the trailer that really sold it for me. There's been a lot of movies in 2024 so far that have really, really strong and promising trailers, and pretty much most of them have landed for me, other than maybe Argyle, but all of them have pretty much, I think, landed where I've wanted them to, even though... maybe there was a few things that missed the mark and didn't live up to maybe what the trailer was selling. I still really enjoyed Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and I would say that if I had a list like from of worst to best for the Ghostbusters movies, this would probably be either my second or third favorite Ghostbusters movie. I really, really had a good time with Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I really do like our kind of newly founded family in the Ghostbusters franchise now with, the combined of the original characters from the, 80s Ghostbusters and now the new surrounding cast from Ghostbusters Afterlife, many of which who return here. I think there's a lot of good humor in here. I really like Paul Rudd in this movie. Obviously, from the trailers, you could kind of already knew what to expect, and I just really, really love him in this movie. I think he's a really, really good main lead. Finn Wolfhard, I really like in here. McKenna Grace, I like her in here actually a lot more than I did in Ghostbusters Afterlife. I like the how they utilize the mom in this movie as well. Can't really remember what the actress's name is, but I do like her in here as well. Kumail Nanjiani, I think, is also a really, really good addition to the kind of the humor side of things. He plays like kind of this fire master guy, and I really like what they do with him in this movie. So overall, I just really, really like the entire kind of family that they've built for this Ghostbusters franchise, and I think that everybody does a pretty good job. I think that the returning cast from Ghostbusters Afterlife, I think that all of them pretty much improve from that first one, and the original cast from the 80s Ghostbusters, I really like what they do with them in here, particularly with Winston, with him being sort of the owner of the Ghostbusters, and I think that he's been a very underutilized character in the Ghostbusters franchise since that first movie, and I really like how they kind of pay off his character in here. I like what they do with Ray in this movie as well, him kind of playing that proud grandpa role where he's just watching his younger generations take over and do the job that he has always loved. I just really like what they do with the returning, or with the original cast in this movie. I think that in Ghostbusters Afterlife, it was kind of fine to have that fan service at the end and trust their new cast of characters to do all the rest for them. But in here, I really like if they're going to bring them back again, that they actually put them to use, and I think that they really do pay off those original characters here. Bill Murray doesn't really do much in here, but I think he's fine for the scenes that he is in. But what they do with Winston and Ray, I think, is really, really great. I think, especially Winston, just a very underutilized character in the Ghostbusters franchise. Quick thing in the mix category for me, while I really do like this new family of characters that they have established in the Ghostbusters franchise, with that comes along the problem of you're going to have to prioritize certain characters and certain subplots over others, and they try to do too much balancing in this movie, and it doesn't really work out too well. But I really did like all of the different, what they did with all the different characters and all the individual subplots, which is why it's in the mix for me, because I think it's something that they could have easily fixed by just putting some over others, particularly McKenna Grace's subplot. I really like what they do with her in here, and had they had spent more time with that, I think it would have provided for a better payoff towards the ending of the movie. So just one of those things that's kind of in the gray area for me, just an easy fix, and so that's why that goes in the mixed category for me. Finally, moving on to the negatives, there were about one or two things that maybe didn't live up to the trailer's standards, both kind of going along with the overall concept itself, with the frozen empire. And if you watch the trailer, you're probably under the impression that the city of New York freezing in the middle of July, that was all going to happen at the beginning of the movie. But in reality, when you actually watch the movie, that doesn't happen until like the last 20 to 30 minutes, which doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why you wouldn't establish that very early on so that you give the Ghostbusters something to work towards and undo, so that there's a lot of payoff towards the end. So that would just, that would make the most sense to me, but I think it's sort of made up for with the fact that they don't just reuse the same plot thread that they've used for many Ghostbusters sequels, which is that the Ghostbusters are either broken up or they're like reopening their business or something like that. At the beginning of the movie, the Ghostbusters are active, running, they're busting ghosts. It's not like they're, you know, split apart or anything like that. So I think that issue is sort of a little bit compensated for that. But either way, I think it just makes for a very, very little payoff at the movie. With how many subplots we have in this movie, and all of the buildup until that last 20 minutes, there's just very, very little payoff for all of it, and it just makes for sort of a disappointing villain as well. And so just kind of unfortunate, because the issues that I have with this movie are easy fixes. It's one of those movies that you could easily see the better version of it and how they could have easily made it like a flawless movie, basically. I would have had I would have basically had no issues with this movie had they made those like little tiny fixes. But either way, I still had a really, really great time with Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and like I said, this would definitely be up there if I made a Ghostbusters ranking, probably either my second or third favorite Ghostbusters movie. And so, yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. And that's all I got for you guys. Make sure you stay tuned for my other reviews coming up next month. And if you haven't already, check out my favorite movies of all time, as well as any other reviews that have come out recently. Make sure you go check them out. And I think that's pretty much all I got. Like and subscribe, guys, and I will see you next time.